Oh boy. So yes, Diablo 4 just got a brand new update. And yes, it looks like Blizzard decided to nerf very important dungeons that you all rely on for farming. And let me tell you what, the community is not happy whatsoever today. So let's get straight into the official post right now. It goes on to say this right here. It says Hotfix 9, June 13th. And it says for dungeons, further adjustments to elite monster density in dungeons. Again, but this time it has a developer note like we requested. It says we are standardizing the density of elite monsters that spawn in dungeons to ensure that no particular dungeon is clearly more efficient to run through than others. Yikes. So this is a creative way of saying we just nerfed your favorite dungeon. Now, you're not going to be expecting as many elites in those dungeons. Good luck. So a lot of people are like, whoa, why would you do this? In fact, we have this post right here as well, that a very specific, noteworthy dungeon was also nerfed. As you can see right here, it's by far one of the best places to farm, experience, and loot, and it was eviscerated by the nerf. And people are kind of furious about this one, They're trying to have fun. They have an idea of the game right now. They have a grasp on what's going on. It's kind of like what we've seen with nerfs with certain classes. When you have your build all ready to go and you finally understand it, you're having fun, then boom. Well, sorry, we're going to nerf everything. So that's kind of what has happened here. And I'm going to get into some posts that really do bring up some good points about buffs. But we got to read further in on what this blog post says about bugs and other fixes, because there's further things here. So it says this right here about bug fixes, legendary aspect changes. So the good news is, yes, remember the legendary aspects that were disabled for the barbarian and so on, those have been re-enabled. But it goes on to say this, fix an issue where the damage bonus from the Edge Master's aspect legendary effects was incorrectly reapplied to Whirlwind when a shout was used. Resolved issues relating to aspect of Berserk, Ripping, and Barbarian's two-handed sword expertise that were allowing players to deal unintended amounts of damage. So those are already back in the game. I told you guys previously in my most recent video that, hey, expect them to have those back in the game by the end of today or tomorrow. And guess what? That actually happened. The team needed to take a break during the weekend. I completely get that. Don't get burned out. Human beings are human beings. People are people, Anyway, let's get into more on the patch notes. So it says this right here. Miscellaneous fix an issue where the World Tier 3 quest was given to players who have not yet met the requirements needed to advance to that world tier. They also fix an issue where an event to the dilapidated Aqueducts subzone had improper level scaling, and then they also did further stability improvements. But yeah, this one comes with quite a bit of controversy. It's so weird because there's good news in here, but trust me, the bad news definitely outweighs the good in this one. Or sound off if you're like unbothered by this news, if you think it's going to be great to be able to have no particular dungeon that's going to be the dungeon to actually farm. Do you think this is a good direction the game should be headed in or not? Sound off. Now let's get into those replies about this situation and what I think are great ideas on how Blizzard should handle this going forward. So check this out right here. It says this. Why do we keep nerfing dungeons rather than bringing the others up? You all just effectively doubled the time to hit 100 now. And I don't know if that was the intent. It feels like they are in some ways trying to artificially extend, I guess you would say, the way leveling works in the game, which kind of worries me. We have also some conspiracy theorists out here as well. Check this out. Tinfoil hat. They want that pre-season experience to be somewhat of a slog while they balance things. Encouraging people to redo all the renown, etc. in a season in less than a month will be a hard sell. But will be easier if they can put a big carrot of bonus seasonal XP. So that's an interesting way of putting it there. And conspiracy theory big time, of course. Let me know if you guys think that conspiracy is onto something truthful or not. All right, we also have this reply right here. This is great. It says, with the mob density in the standard overworld dungeons being lowered, equalized, surely the correct play here is to buff it for and or buff nightmare dungeons in general to provide the best benefits. Makes more sense to me rather than farming non-nightmares being the best in slot method. So, yeah, it just seems like a buff overall would make more sense. Now, I am kind of wondering as well. I saw a reply on one of these threads about how, well, are they maybe, standardizing everything to be able to simultaneously raise everything as well to potentially buff it all at once? That's like a whole other theory. That's complete speculation, but who knows? Maybe that's possible. But on Reddit, people are also just talking about it here. Here's the thread. It says, if only standardizing the density of elite monsters that spawn in dungeons meant increasing other dungeons and not reducing the good ones. So that's what everyone wants. That's what they want. Why would they go the complete opposite route? It just seems kind of strange. And then we have this one, developer note. We don't want dense packs of enemies in Diablo 4. We want every dungeon to be a miserable slog. Do you feel that way currently about a lot of the dungeons, that they're kind of tedious? Sound off in the comments below. I'm also kind of curious how you guys are feeling about nightmare dungeons overall as well. And then we also have this one right here. It says, this is what happens in World of Warcraft, and obviously it happens here. People find more efficient ways to do something, the secret gets out. Blizzard nerfs, everyone says Blizzard hates fun. Posts with hundreds of comments about what dungeon is best, in YouTube videos with tens of thousands of views. Of course, this was coming. Now Blizz nerfing crap to the ground and buffing nothing is another story. Yeah, so I'm wondering if buffs will be coming. I'm hoping that they do some adjustments, creative adjustments to the dungeons after doing this, because people are just really hurt by this one. Now, mentioning buffs, check this out. This is a great point. It says buff Greed Shrine or remove it. Currently has no reason to exist in the game, as one trash yellow is worth more than any amount of money I'd make activating a Greed Shrine. It's a great point. It's just kind of like useless, so why not buff it? It says Greed Shrine equals movement speed buff with a few coins on the side. So that's like the only benefit of it, but it's called a Greed Shrine. It's not called like a speed boost shrine. Yeah, make it make sense. That's all I have to say. Now, this is a heartbreaking story right here. Check it out. It says, friend died at 99, hardcore solo, 5% till he was at 100. Damn, that is gut-wrenching. Look at this. 150-hour playtime as well. And he was doing pretty good in gold. Dang. So, yeah. His run came to an end. Will be remembered. But, yeah, it happens, It's risky playing that hardcore mode, but when it comes to all these nerfs, it's even riskier, in my opinion. Alright, so we also got to talk about something that I have personally noticed as well. Check it out. Didn't realize Diablo used Apple Maps for navigation. And you can see here's the waypoint, the beginning point, and then you could see what the path the game has decided to choose. It is just completely wacky, and I myself have learned not to trust the waypoint at all. Like, man, this game needs to really make up its mind on the waypoint. So I think that definitely needs to be looked into going forward. So hopefully Blizzard has an upcoming patch for that as well. All right, so yes, I also wanted to talk about this one as well. Check it out right here. It says, do yourself a favor, stop copying streamers. In recent years, I've heard so many people complain that gaming is not fun anymore. Here is my non-expert theory. The reason many people do not find gaming fun anymore is that everyone tends to emulate streamer behavior. This is fascinating. But streamers are playing games like a job because it is their job. They are not playing to have fun. They are playing to make money, and so play to be as efficient as possible, to post that they are ahead of the pack and make money, promoting guides for people to follow, who also want to be ahead of others. The human desire to be number one is a big money maker. They don't play any content or build in a game that is not top tier in terms of efficiency. So yeah, basically the post goes on to describe how emulating this is just like a shortcut, and you really don't get to essentially discover the game for yourself. As you can clearly see, I'm doing my own thing in the game, I know it's not perfect, but that's why I love it. I love just having fun with Diablo. It doesn't have to be perfect. If at the end of the day I find the game challenging, fun, I'm good to go. It doesn't have to be like the absolute most damaging build ever. If it's fun, that's critical for me first and foremost. If it's going to be like where I'm actually not enjoying the mechanic of the build, but it's like the most OP build, that to me is just like, that's why I really want them to elevate a lot of the core abilities in this game, in the end game, so they are viable, so that you can really have more experimentation within your arsenal. All right, so now it's time to go over your top comments. Remember to leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video, so let's do this. So yes, what was my most recent video about, you ask? It was this one right here. Diablo 4, it's confirmed critical updates to loot tables, legendary aspects. Things are changing. So let's get into this one right now. So if we scroll on down, we have this one right here. Top comments, of course, from Albert Cunningham, who says, I love the PvP. It's frustrating at times, especially when someone 20 plus levels comes swooping in and killing you, but it's a thrill just running through, grabbing all the currency, and maybe catch some people off guard. It's really a change of pace, I will say, and even if you don't like PvP, it's still really easy to gather currency in there and get some free weapons from it, if you risk it, of course. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll venture into PvP a little bit more. That post kind of has me convinced to maybe step in there. I'll probably get slaughtered instantly. Then we have this one. PvP zones are fun, and meeting people that are down to duel is great. Reminds me of Diablo 2 PvP. Nice. So it seems like, you know, from what I'm seeing, mostly like a positive experience from PvP, maybe? I don't know. That's only 2 posts, though, so let's keep going. It says, thanks for always being on top of Diablo 4 news. Helpful while I'm at work. You got it, dude. I have it all covered for you. No worries. And then we have Tree of Whispers needs to be updated with something cool, like if you do something influenced by it, you get higher chance of Butcher. Other iconic bosses invade you. Dude, that's a great idea. Yeah, it'd be interesting if they had some sort of bounty hunting system attached to it, you know, where you knew that it was dangerous going in, collecting certain things, and it was very likely others were also going after the same stuff, and you would have to fight them off. So maybe they could add more mechanics to it, but I love that idea. All right, now we have this one. I would very much like to see an option for profile snapshots, much like how the wardrobe has appearance presets you can save. Sure, gold cost is perfectly fine to swap each and every time you change it, but having somewhere in the game where you can save the exact loadout of your skills, paragon points, and gear is the main thing lacking, preventing me from just trying out different options for the character. It's not about the gold cost, it's about the needless logistics work to get back to your previous build if you find your experiment went awry that is stopping me from changing anything. So that's also a great, excellent thought right there. Some of you aren't even worried about the actual gold cost. It's just such a pain reworking that entire system. And I get where you're coming from, so yeah. Hopefully, they can come up with an actual solution to all of this. I really do think they're going to have to. Now, someone had an idea here as well, so let's get into that. We have King88 Martin, who says, the middle ground is keeping the gold cost of changing skills and paragon points, but having those loadouts savable so you can easily swap back to it for the appropriate gold cost if you wanted to. Dude, I love the idea. I think that's such a great idea. But do you guys think, like, if they do loadouts or things like ability skills, they should have a gold cost, or do you think it should be where you could switch and swap freely, or is that too much? But I think if they do loadouts, I think your idea is actually on point to what Blizzard would actually do, have a cost to it, because they want, once again, they want it to matter, it to feel like it has purpose. They want you to kind of stick with the loadout for as long as possible. And then they also want you to be able to experiment with new characters, especially when seasons roll around. All right, so there it is, the latest happenings around Diablo 4. Stay tuned here for more news and updates. I have you guys covered, and I will see you all next time. Take care.